Hi, and welcome to my King of the Hill themed Animal Crossing island. We'll be touring every inch of the island, including every villager home. It's packed with references to the show, but don't worry, there are no season 14 spoilers. Crack open a cold Alamo beer or grab a fruit pie and let's get going. We're starting here at the airport, and this is the island entrance. You might recognize this scene from Happy Hanksgiving, where Hank watched in horror from the airplane as the bomb squad exploded his smoked turkey. So the name of the island, Fartland, and the welcome sign both come from the episode Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, where Dale thought that he had traveled into the future. I'm visiting the island from my main Animal Crossing account, dressed as Luann for the occasion. Let's look at the island map to see who actually lives here. Hank is the resident representative. His house is the Hill House. And Bobby's house is the mall. Stinky his home is the VFW. Nan represents Nancy. Henry, his house is Con's house. He represents Con. Angus lives at Sugarfoot's. Peggy, her house is her classroom. Jitters represents Dale, and his house is Dale's basement. Buck is Strickland, of course. We have Bill and Lucky, and then Tex, who lives at the Alamo. And here's a quick look at my custom map for the island. It features some of the larger builds or major focal points of the island, but there's actually a ton more to see than what's captured here. We're going down this street first, but we'll circle back to look at the beach areas. Most of these items here on the beach aren't part of the actual island. They're just little scenes that I couldn't fit on the island itself. So here's the VFW. Stinky, of course, is one of Cotton's friends. Stinky, Fatty, Brooklyn, Doc, Topsy, you know the rest. And here's Earth Cleaners, sucking up some poop. And then we get to the Arlen First Methodist Church with Reverend Stroop out front. There's a book you could pick up here, like the Bible. On the table, you could see some lutefisk in between two Frito pies. And then back here is where Bobby became the man with the terrible smell and set the church on fire. Most of the bottom right corner of the island is Lake Arlen, but this building here is nearby. It's Layaway Ray's bait shop. From Jumping Crack Bass, this is where Layaway Ray had set his store on fire for insurance fraud. Here's Resident Services, where you wake up in the dream address. We have the Harlottown Days Festival going on. Harlottown, come up and see us sometime. Oh, I just realized I forgot to add the erotic bakery. On the left, you're welcomed by one of Peggy's probots. Doesn't it just make you feel optimistic? There's also a bulletin board with some important messages from Hank and Bobby. All of the designs that I created for this island are available in the Custom Designs portal. Go ahead and feel free to take any of them that you want and use it for your island. And there were a lot of great designs that I downloaded from others, such as what I used for the island flag, as well as Hank's Strickland uniform. I did not create those. Heading back to the beach, we have our first little scene here, which is Peggy's Magic Sex Feet. We have ketchup and other stuff for her to stomp in, her shoes and socks, and Peggy over there, inspiring others with large feet. Next, we have Lucky and Luann's wedding from Lucky's Wedding Suit. Reverend Stroop was officiating, and the trumpet over there on the left is because Chuck Mangione was playing. Now, this next one is from one of the most popular King of the Hill episodes, Bobby Goes Nuts. This is the women's self-defense class at YMCA. Go ahead and drop that quote in the comments. I know you know it. And this one is one of Peggy's great moments, and Peggy's snooping on us back there. This is when she was smuggling drugs in Boggle Timers. Excuse me, Angus. This scene is from Not in My Backhoe, when Bill and Dale got themselves stuck in a hole. Let's head back to the VFW. Here in the back, looks like they're having a rummage sale. A lot of great militaria for sale. Gas mask, skull, boots, and of course, Hitler's canoe. Stinky wasn't home during the dream, but I recorded the inside with Hank. I drew inspiration from several different episodes for the interior, got their board games. That picture of Pico on the shelf represents the widow in the wallet. We have a bottle of shin jelly there on that crate, various pictures on the wall, historical items like a sword. We got those keys on the back represent war medals, just everything you would expect from the VFW. Heading down Milton Street, we have Luann and Lucky's house. There's Luann's communist sign, her pool, her Bible, and Lucky's home, so let's go visit him. So the interior of Luann and Lucky's house wasn't shown that often, so it's kind of hard to figure out how to design this. But we have slip-on pee-pee money here in the corner. We have lasagna, Gracie's baby stuff. Around here, we have a picture of Luann eating pancakes. That was fun to make. Then we have Lucky's guitar from Big Mountain Fudge Cake. No surprises there. Now on to Bill's house. This first part is obvious, pretty dresses. This is Lenore. And Bill was not home, so we have Hank to show us the inside. Got some Christmas stuff for Lenore, of course. We got a little bit of a mess. Poor Bill. Here on the back wall, we have some surprises. We have more pretty dresses. We have his army uniform and his bulldozer uniform. But otherwise, it's pretty much just Bill's living room. Now we're off to the alley. The first house coming this way is Con's or Henry's. And we have a game. The sign says, "Choose one. Are you the llama?" This is from the episode, "Won't You Pee My Neighbor?" So you pick one of these bags and see if you've gotten the Llama Sanglug's mirror. So let's see what I got. Shoot, I'm not the llama. Let me try again. Whoa! And just for funsies, I'll open up the third bag. Let's go visit Con. There's Doggy over there. Here are the items laid out for the llama test. We got some rejected applications from Nine Rivers there on the ground. And looks like Connie and Bobby are trying to kiss. Here we are in the living room of Con and Min and Connie. We have nice furniture, nice things, Connie's violin. There's a picture of Pecan, the squirrel, next to the TV. So that's supposed to be a picture of Connie. Now, when I got Henry as a villager, I wasn't going to keep him, but it reminded me of the episode Deconstructing Henry. So I kept Henry. I thought it was fitting. And so he's our Con. We also have the jukebox back there, but unfortunately it doesn't play Hey Mickey. Moving on through the rest of the alley, we have Boomhauer, Bill, Dale, and Hank out in the alley drinking beer. The island time is set to 5 p.m. It's nice and sunset. Hank is off work. Now, unfortunately, I could not give Boomhauer a real house, but we do have him and his car. And over here is the Gribble house. We have the Bugabago with Dale and Nancy, John Redcorn, and Joseph back there. Now this is very important. The bean tossing kit. It represents pocket sand. You can throw pocket sand all over the island. Very fun. Let's head inside Dale's house before we visit the Hill house. Looks like Nancy has a headache today. So this is Dale's basement. It was one of my favorite villager houses to decorate. It's packed with references. There's a picture of Nan on the wall, a gas mask, a drum of Mountain Dew, and all sorts of Y2K hoarding going on. We have his pet turtle, punching bag, microphone from when he had a radio station, Puff Puff the Gerbster, an ant farm, Smokin' Sammy Salmon, the singing Manitoba fish, exterminator uniforms, a 3-line phone, and his computer. Let's say hi. Now let's head to the Hill house. First, we'll take a peek at the back of Bill's house. It is Bill's house because he really, really cares. Heading into the Hill's backyard. That's a good table for smoking a carton of cigarettes. Have a propane grill. Hank is cooking up some Larson pork products. Here's a bird's eye view of the backyard and the alley. The doghouse is Barkingham Palace. Going to the front yard, we'll see one reference to a beer can named Desire. This is the Alamo standee that Hank made. Let's go inside. Here's the living and dining room. The interior of the home changed a lot throughout the series. So it was kind of hard to get everything right. I just used the best items that I had access to in the game, but you get the gist. On the table, we have Peggy's centerpiece made out of yard waste. Let's head into the kitchen. There are a few references here on the table. We have pancakes. That's for Cotton when he was asking for waffles instead. We have milk. When Bobby said there's some milk in the fridge that's about to go bad, and there it goes. We have Bobby smearing candy on his chest by the window. We have an apple brown Peggy. And the coffee mug on the table is full of testosterone for Hank. Let's see what's going on in Hank and Peggy's bedroom. Not much. Doesn't look like a whole lot goes on in here. Maybe it's more exciting in Bobby's room. There is a lot going on in Bobby's room. First, we have the paint on the walls, clouds. We have some of Bobby's posters on the wall. We have the wig head from Plastic White Female. Baseball stuff. A stack of pop culture magazines. A fruit pie. Sewing kit. Whoopee cushion. The Amazing Jesus magic kit. All of Bobby's stuff is in here. And we're playing some nice pop music on the radio. Let's head upstairs to the attic, or should I say Hank's den and Peggy's office. The left side of the den is when Luann was living there. It's got all her stuff everywhere, shoes, cosmetics. And then the right side is more like Hank's clubhouse. Here's Peggy's office, also where the water heater is. It has her K-Pro, a stack of books of the 150 smartest people in Texas. We have her accolades and PhD on the wall. Also a picture of herself. It's an office fit for a genius. Heading down to the basement, which is also Hank's garage. We have a few things here. We have a good coffin and a bad coffin from I Don't Want to Wait. One of them has Canadian Goose down. The other has leftover fiberfill. Here in the corner, we have a grandfather clock, toilet paper, varnish from Hillennium. So that was it. That was all the rooms of the Hill House. Let's head back out. Oh, there's Bobby. Hi, Bobby. If you couldn't hear it, the island tune is Feels So Good by Chuck Mangione. So when you come to the island and talk to any of the villagers or residents, they hum that tune. Up here we have the car wreck that Joseph got into with Connie and Bobby, again in the I Don't Want to Wait episode. And it was Bobby's birthday, so that's the birthday cake. We're going to say hi to Hank. Back here we have a little scene dedicated to Spin the Choice. We have the wheel spinning. I hope I win a Winnebago. We have Bobby's table with the thanks for nothing sign. Now the Viking helmet is just the closest looking thing to the head that Bobby had for signifying cannibalism. Here's the car race where the cars race. This is where Jimmy Witchard works. He's the boss. We have the hot dog suit and some snacks that Bobby would carry out to the crowd. We'll come back to this area with the rodeo. Here's Dale's front yard. He has a sign for Dale Tech. And we have a bee, because he's allergic to bees. And his tractor. Here's Casa Linda, the singles apartment complex. We know that Buck likes to eat, likes to hump, and he doesn't like to drive. So let's see where he doesn't like to drive to. This is Sugarfoot's, or Peggy's Sugarfoot's. There's something going on back here. Yep, that's Debbie Groan's body. Since Angus isn't home right now, we'll need Hank to give us a tour of the inside. It's just your nice neighborhood cafeteria style barbecue place. We have Peggy's suggestion box right there. This is before she swept up the sawdust and put in carpet. Now back to Rainy Street. We're at the front of the Hill House, and here's Winklebottom. And an ant. This is from the episode where Hank's lawn gets destroyed. And instead of Nook's Cranny, we have the Get In, Get Out convenience store. And at the front of Con's house, we have a little Laotian flag. And let's cut some of Min's roses. Now we're at the mall. There's a variety of local businesses. We have Stems and Seeds, Peggy's World of Books, and Gunst, the T is falling off. We have Earl's Music Shop, Howdy's. What else will we find inside? When we first enter the mall, we have the Showbiz Deli. This is from the episode Love Hurts and So Does Art, where Bobby gets gout. We have here a Louis Anderson sandwich with chopped chicken liver. And there are photos of celebrities all over the walls. Here's Earl's music shop. The peach on the counter is from the episode Next of Shin, where Hank is having his sperm count troubles and Earl tells him to try peaches. Looks like there's some good music on sale. John Redcorn's solo project and Chuck Mangione. Let's check out Stems and Seeds. This is where you can get the best indoor rose growing equipment. And learn all about the philosophy of wabi-sabi. Heading into Peggy's store now. This is Peggy's bookstore from Full Metal Dust Jacket. We're trying to maintain a certain ambiance. So we're having cappuccino, and the apple there, it's a Brayburn. The slingshot represents a gun, and the door, if it were real, would lead to the basement where you could do target practice. Here's Howdy's. That's right, the one with the Z, where Luann and Bill worked. There's Bill right there at first chair. Did I say Bill? I meant Beto. When I rewatched the episode to do this build, I was surprised at how bland and boring the inside of Howdy's was. It had no vibe. Now to the basement. So this is the mower focus group for the Mason 2500. It was at 6 malls over Texas, not the Arlen Mall. I couldn't fit everyone in here, but we do have Hank, Boomhauer, Bill's Hat, Lane Prattley, and the Reverend on the other side. There's a two-way mirror on the back wall. And that's every part of the mall. We're going to head straight behind Resident Services, where there's the Manger Babies Theater and Red Corn Land. And in those gifts right there, you could pick up some cotton candy and a balloon. It was really hard to make the Manger Babies design in the pixel art, but it was so worth it to have this tribute to Luann. Here's Nan's house, also known as the Channel 84 news station. I wish she could end her quote with "shug." I just had to pick Nan for this island because of when John Redcorn called her my sweet Nan Nan. That blue dress represents the blue dress that Luann wore in front of the blue screen. Here's a news van. Down here, there's some skater kids who really love Jesus. And here's Tom Landry Middle School. This sign is from the standardized test episode, No Bobby Left Behind. And Peggy's not home, so we have Bobby here. This is Senora Hill's Espanol class. Peggy's in a bad mood right now. I think she might use this cutting board that's shaped like Old Spanky, the paddle. You can see the Spanish influences in her classroom decorations. Let's head back outside. Here's another shot of the exterior of the school. Angus again. And here's the not organic garden. Let's look at this gift. Definitely need this gas mask because of all the pesticides. Now these vending machines back here are packed with soda. This is from the episode Bobby Ray. Now here's the football field. These gifts have a Powder Puff Boys uniform, including a wig. And down here is Dale's towel manager shirt and setup. Here on the baseball field is the Coven of Artemis from the Witches of East Arlen episode. And if you open these gifts, you're selected to become the chalice holder. I'll drink the Canina Spiritus now and then put on my robes. So that's it for the school. Strickland is down here, but we're going to head over to the quarry first. Save some itchy algae. So here's the quarry. Looks like they already found Boomhauer's car, Ms. Sally, with a leather jacket inside. I'll put that on. This was a really fun build to make. So I made sure to visit Sugarfoot's before coming up here because this is the back of Sugarfoot's and it kind of ruins the surprise when you can see the full dead body right there. This whole scene is from the episode Living on Red's Vitamin C and Propane. That is the Wonder Truck stuck up a rocky mountain carrying antiques for Tilly. Here's the shooting range where Hank and Bobby competed in a father-son shooting competition. These bows and arrows represent rifles. And here's their second place trophy. Now we're heading to one of the major lookout points for the Alamo. This is from the episode Yankee Hanky, where Hank finds out he's not a native Texan, and Cotton drops him off here at the Alamo to use Hank as a patsy for his and his friends' plot to go to Cuba and assassinate Fidel Castro. These gifts will be important in a minute. We're going to head up to Tex's house to look at the inside of the Alamo. Imagine one of these flags is the New York flag, and that's a statue of Davy Crockett in the corner. Sorry about this, Mr. Crockett. Why am I wearing the hat? This outfit was in the gift bags. There was another secret next to Tex's house here in the back corner. It's Marfa, Texas, where Joseph went to find his real family, the aliens. This is alien urine. It costs half a mayonnaise jar. We're behind the San Antonio skyline, which we'll check out in a minute. Heading back to the museum, the Stegosaurus and Shamrock Soda relate to a Peggy Hill quote. Just because his name is Osaurus, that does not make him Irish. And I got bit by a mosquito. And this, of course, is Hank's beef-filled colon from Love Hurts and So Does Art. Down here we have the Omega House selling some jams and jellies. This is another nod to Jimmy Witchard. This is his can art. This scene is from Bill of Sales, the Metal Life sales conference that Bill and Peggy went to. Thanks to Bill. There's crates of Metal Life bars and some free champagne that you can drink while observing the San Antonio skyline. Now, I filmed this part when I was still in my Davy Crockett outfit before changing, and then shuffled the scenes around. Here in the rodeo, there's a cowboy outfit that you could put on. And this isn't the gay rodeo that Dale's dad works at. This is the rodeo from rodeo days, where Bobby was a rodeo clown. Now we're going to head south of the border, down to Mexico. Here's the line to get through customs. And now we've entered Mexico. Now, most of this is based on the episode 3 Days of the Condo. This is the town that they were vacationing in. And here's a paper mache pear stand. Here's La Bamba, the giant firework that Bobby and Connie bought. And you can light some fireworks here. Over here we have some makeup by La Leche del Sol. It tastes like turtles. Here are the condos. Upstairs we have 2 cans of WD-40. And there's a gift that Peggy was given to deliver just across the border. Let's see what it is. Now I'm back in my normal clothes and we're heading over to Lupe's village from the episode Lupe's Revenge. There she is right there. What's your favorite Peggy Hill Spanish quote? Let me know in the comments. So that's all of Mexico. We're going to head to the other side of the island, fast forwarding here because we've seen all this. We're heading to Lake Arlen and the campsite. This is another view of Layaway Ray's Bait and Tackle. And down here we have Ma and Pa's General Store. This area is based on the episode The Order of the Straight Arrow. And this area is the Wimatanye part where Bobby is lifting the whooping crane in the air. Over here is a clothing optional area of the lake. This is where Hank and Peggy were going to do nude grilling. There are Vidalia onions in this bag. And here is Lake Arlen. On the right is another reference to the Jumping Crack Bass episode. The boat with a bass and a jar of some white substance. Here's the changing room where Bobby saw Luann naked. Down here we're going to hop on a ferry and go to Port Aransas with Hank and his mom and his mom's friends. Here are the old ladies. And here we are at spring break. Over here is the miniatures museum. There's an acorn here in the window, but it represents the Los Angeles International Airport inside a walnut shell that Hank bought for Tilly. Goodbye, ladies. Goodbye, MTV. We have a couple of stops along this beach area, and then we'll check out Megalomart. Here's Jumpin' Crack Bass again. This is another reference to the Harlottown episode, the tea kettle and the fancy shoes. Try them on. Now that we have our sparkly tennis shoes on, we can check out this graffiti by Tid Pow, Q-Bag. And we have a candy machine for the science fair. Heading into the parking lot of Megalomart. It's on fire, a reference to the Propane boom episodes. That is going to represent a kazoo. We also have references to the episode Megalodale, such as these heavily discounted Chuck Mangione records. The significance of the kazoo is that Hank was going to use them to disrupt the performance right before the propane explosion. Heading up these stairs to the playground where we can get a better view of the store. Now, the Chuck Mangione on the roof with the toilet paper and the poop and the trumpet, that's another reference to Megalodale. And here we can pay our respects to Buckley. The paper tigers and these flowers that look like a strawberry plant, that's to represent the joke that Con told at the funeral. There are a couple more scenes on the beach, but let's head up to Nine Rivers Country Club first. It's very elegant and exclusive. Here's the pool over here. And here's a golf cart. And here's the majestic fourth hole. Most of this was inspired by the episode Man Without a Country Club, but some came from the episode The Men Who Knew Too Much. Heading back to the beach, we have the copy store with a picture of a goddamn hot dog. And back in this corner, we have Hank's birthplace, the ladies' room at Yankee Stadium in New York City. We also have some delicious bagels that Hank loves. This was a last-minute reference I threw down for Stick Tech, the Exterminator episode of the Roach, and Dale's newspaper hat. There are no hats at Stick Tech. Now let's check out Strickland Propane. We have the big tank and the truck in the back. This is Buck's car, Cadillac car. Looks like we have an event going on. Let's see what's in these presents. These are a reference to what Joe Jack wore in the Meet the Propaniacs episode. Buck is home, so I'll get to go inside. I'll just take another look at the outside again. Let's say hi to Buck. It looks like Girlstravaganza is in full swing. This magic set is another reference to Joe Jack. Hank's desk is back here, and he has a picture of Peggy. Looks like Buck is over there ready to give me a good deal on a Wagner Char King Imperial, but I don't have enough bells. I gotta get out of this diaper. That's better. We're heading up to one of my favorite parts of the island based on the Pygmalion episode, the Larson pork plant. This is the room with the old Larson magazine ad on display. And here's the line of pigs on their way to the slaughterhouse. There's the hot air balloon. Here's the inside of the slaughterhouse, the climax of the episode. This is where Trip had a moment of clarity and then became a sausage. Put on your pig nose and you can become a sausage too. Heading into Louisiana, we have another reference to the episode A Beer Can Named Desire. This is Bill's family's chateau. There are flowers representing Rose, Lily, and Violetta. And a sofa for Gilbert. Here on the secret beach is Boomhauer in his short shorts and long board. There's only one more area left to explore. It's Peggy free-fallen in her skydiving accident. The butterfly is making this a bit too positive. The cow skull is what Luann saw, and she assumed that it was Peggy's. These gifts are a mummy costume and a cast. You can hop on the gurney and pretend you had your own skydiving accident. This final scene is from the episode The Sun That Got Away, The Caves, when Bobby, Connie, and Joseph went to the boneyard. And there's a glow stick and the scented candles that they brought. That was every inch, every nook and cranny of Fartland. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this whole video. There were so many King of the Hill references that I couldn't squeeze into this island. Let me know in the comments what you would have liked to see. If you love themed islands as much as I do, please subscribe. My next island is going to be based on the show Severance. If you're a fan, you're not going to want to miss it. Bye!